across the nation. First, before I speak to those things, I want to say a few thank yous. Let me thank Mayor Brian P. Stack and the Union City Commissioners and the Board of Education for welcoming us here to Union City High School, home of the Soaring Eagles. I want to say that Sylvia Vada, who is now the first I don't know, only first female Hispanic, but I think maybe the first Hispanic superintendent of schools here in our city. I take pride that I hired Sylvia Abado when she first came to the Union City School District, so congratulations. Let me thank who is the Executive Director of the Service Employees International Union's New Jersey State Council, representing 40,000 members in 4 different industries. She is one of the most accomplished and respected labor leaders in our state. Gracias por la presentación hoy. I appreciate Mr. Benetti, the principal of this great school. This is not the school I went to when I went to high school. This is a lot nicer than the one I went to, although there were great teachers there. But he is a great educational leader, so we appreciate his hospitality and his welcome here. And to the Union City High School ROTC, young men and women willing to ultimately think about serving their country as so many Latinos have in the past, as well as the choir, who I thought was fantastic. We hear the voices of young Latinos singing the national anthem of the United States of America. To the performers of El Balcón Andino, ¿no fueron fantásticos los bailadores que estaban bailando? Había otro grupo que también iba a estar aquí, pero desafortunadamente tuvieron un fallecimiento del grupo, así que lo sentimos mucho que no pudieron estar con nosotros. And to Pastor Jose Rodriguez, who always says yes when I ask him, and who is an inspiration to us in so many different ways. Pastor, thank you very much. And to Jennifer Espinosa, who led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please give them all a round of applause. And I'll introduce them in just a little bit, but a very special thank you to our keynote speaker, one of the most respected voices, not just in the Hispanic American community, but in America, Jorge Ramos, the anchor of Univision. This year's theme is a simple statement of fact: nuestras voces cuentan. Our voices matter. Our voices matter more than ever before with the demographic changes that we are seeing. With those changes come new power in our growing numbers, and that means power at the ballot box this November, and I hope you don't forget to vote in November to make sure that all of our voices are heard. With that increased power comes new responsibility as a community, and it demands a new commitment from each of us to each other. A new commitment to dreamers, to new immigrants, to old immigrants, to those in the shadow who want nothing more than to keep their families together and build a better life. We can make sure that those who fought against comprehensive immigration reform, against health care for the many in our community who need it, against keeping families together, against giving dreamers a chance at their dream, against fairness for every immigrant and every family, will find themselves on the wrong side of history in the irresistible tide of history that is marching in that way. Yes, nuestra voz cuenta. Now, let us understand that what we say and what we do, and how forcefully we say it, will make a difference for the next generation. The fact is, every voice, cada voz, sí cuenta, does matter. The number of Hispanic American voices and the 11 million more living in the shadows can move the nation. The Latino population in the United States is currently the second largest worldwide, exceeding the size of Latino populations in every other country except Mexico. There are almost 12 million Latino households in the United States in 2013. Latino children under the age of 18 represent approximately 1/3 of the total Latino population in the United States. 1 in 4 public school students in America are Latino, and the total number of school-age Latino children in the United States is expected to reach 28 million by 2050, just a few short years away. So increasingly the competitive future of the United States will be determined about how well educated these young men and women are, not just for our community, but for the nation as a whole. One of us may, yes, clean a knife in the restaurant where we may eat, but another one of us is going to hold a surgeon's knife in an operating room, and how well educated and trained that young person is going to be incredibly important. 18% of all college students between the ages of 18 and 24 years old are Latino, making Latinos the largest racial or ethnic minority group on college campuses in the United States. A record 11 million Latinos voted in the 2012 presidential election, representing a record 8.4% of the electorate in the United States. In this year's midterm elections, almost 24 million Latinos are eligible to vote. And the number of eligible Latino voters is expected to double in 15 years by 2030. Our purchasing power as a community is an estimated $1.2 trillion. And there are more than 3 million Hispanic-owned firms in the United States that contribute more than $468 billion in revenue to the economy of the United States. And as Lisette knows so well, more than 25 million Latino workers represent 16.3% of the total civilian labor force in the United States. And that's expected to grow to nearly 20% by 2022. Hispanic Americans serve in all branches of the armed forces and have bravely fought in every American war. As of July of this year, nearly 163,000 Hispanic active duty service members serve with distinction in the armed forces of the United States. That is why I sometimes wonder when I turn the television on and listen to some of these channels. There was a young man, Lance Corporal Jose Gutierrez, a Guatemalan, who was the first person on behalf of this nation to die in Iraq, and he was not even a United States citizen when he died for this country. Don't tell us that we don't have a sense of patriotism and love of country. We have done it, and we have fought in each and every one of these wars. And so when we talk about immigration reform, we have to serve the nation. But as I talk about all these new realities and what they mean, I want to just for a moment talk about that the new reality is really an old reality. You know, the reason I wrote my book, Growing American Roots, is because I would turn the television on, certain channels, not Univision, and I would ultimately hear these commentators talking about the Hispanic community as if we all came yesterday, all just crossed the border, we're all takers and not givers to this society, and I couldn't take it anymore. So as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month of 2014, let us remember that we have a long history that precedes the founding of the nation. Tenemos una gran herencia en este país, una herencia que nosotros mismos algunas veces no conocemos, que precede la creación de la nación de los Estados Unidos. We fought alongside patriots in the American Revolution. Bernardo de Galvez, a Spanish Army officer, the governor of Louisiana from 1775 to 1785, helped with a Spanish contingent break the British advances against George Washington in the American Revolution. Latinos fought and died in the Civil War of the United States. There were at least 10,000 Mexican Americans fighting for the Union during the Civil War. During the Spanish-American War, a dozen Latinos were among Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders. Or in World War I, an Army pilot named David Cantu of Laredo, Texas, of Mexican descent, who volunteered to penetrate German lines in France and was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. Or among the heroes of World War II, Private First Class Gabi Gabaldon, who won the Navy Cross for capturing more than 1,000 enemy soldiers in the South Pacific in the summer of 1944. Or the story of Alejandro Ruiz, whose Medal of Honor citation in World War II talked about his heroic actions and his simple yet very passionate response. I never questioned my duty because I believe that as Americans we have a responsibility to serve our country and preserve our way of life and freedoms. All I can say is I did what I had to do. Private Ruiz served his nation with honor. So did the 14,000 Hispanic soldiers who served in Korea, more than 300 who died in that war. 80,000 Hispanics who served